Hey guys, Juan here with a video on how to replace your gauge cluster lights with some LED ones. These just arrived yesterday, and I didn't really get the chance to install them because it was so dark already. I already have a set of LEDs inside, which are really dim. These pretty much suck. They were 5 SMD LEDs. These are 8 SMD LEDs. And I was just expecting something a little bit brighter, so I'm gonna go ahead and install these for you guys and see how bright they are. If you want to know what exactly these are and where they came from, I'll be posting a link for you guys as well. So let's get to it. Alright, so before we can continue, we need to unscrew a few things before we could actually remove the gauge cluster and the trimming around it. So you got 2 screws in here. You have one up here far back, and then you have one to the right, and you also have one that requires you to have the door open by the brake fluid reservoir. Prepare for the annoying sound right here. So I'm gonna go ahead and take those off for you guys, and we'll go ahead and try to get the plastic to come off. Alright, so here's where the annoying part comes in. For this, you might want to lower down the steering wheel, and you might want to have the door open. Well, you're gonna need to have it open because you're gonna need to get this part over here. Prepare for the annoying sound again. You're gonna need to get the plastic around this right here, otherwise you're gonna break the plastic. Other than that, this will just come off right easily. You're gonna have to pull out on this at first, and once you actually get the plastic around the brake fluid reservoir, it should just pop right out. So I'm gonna go ahead and stop the video so I could get this off, otherwise I'm gonna break it. And just remember to be gentle. Just a quick heads up, for the removal process, you actually have another screw here by the lock and unlock button. If you have a power lock on the car, you could see right here, and then you have another one here by the brightness control for the gauge cluster lights. So you have a total of about 5 screws you need to remove. And the trick for removing the trimming here is to remove the cap on the brake fluid reservoir, and it should just pop out right there. And you could see here I have the gauge cluster exposed, and then you have 1 screw here and 1 screw there, and you have another 2 down here and down there. And once you unscrew that, you'll be able to see all the connections. You'll have a speedometer cable right here, and then you'll have like 2 more connectors over there. I'll be showing you once I get this out, so hang in there. Alright, so once you actually remove the 4 screws, we can go on to the back of the cluster. And if you can't really see, my apologies, but you have 3 cables. You have a speedometer one to the left, and then you have 2 electrical ones on the right, and they both go into separate ports. But you might want to be gentle on the speedometer cable. It has green plastic tabs on it that could break if you're not gentle with it, and if they break, the cable will not stay put onto the cluster, and it's gonna pretty much ruin the project unless you could find a way to keep it intact. So I'm gonna go ahead and remove the cables. Alright, so you completely removed your gauge cluster, and as it turned out, there were more than just 3 connections. You have one here, you had one here, your speedometer cable, and another one up here. So you had about 5 things to disconnect before removing this cluster. Alright, so you want to change your main lights on your instruments. So you want to go ahead and look for the lights, the housing for the lights that have that are indicated with a green color, and there's only 4 of them. And to take those off, you just need to simply twist. And you can see I had my cheap LED in here. So I'm gonna go ahead and change this with one of the new ones. So I'm gonna go ahead and pause the video and get back to you once I open my case of new LEDs. All you need to do to remove the light is just simply pull, and they just pop right out. So I'm gonna go ahead and open my lights. And be sure to not touch the LEDs. I hear that could actually degrade the quality of the lights. So I'm just gonna go ahead and plug it in. Alright, just make sure they're in all the way. And you're gonna want to do it to all 4 lights, and if they don't work at first, when it comes to putting it back in, if they do not work, you just need to simply remove it and then flip it another 180 degrees, and they should work. They should. If they don't, there's probably a problem with the connection here, or it's just your LEDs not working. I bought a cheap pair, so I'm kind of expecting my lights to not all work, but I just want to have enough to have my 4 main lights changed. And if you want to go ahead and change your other indicator lights, you can go ahead and do that too. I'm not going to go ahead and bother doing that just yet. Alright, so before you put everything back, you need to of course test out the lights, see if they're all working, and your end results should look like this. Of course, you can't really see the lights right now as it's still bright outside, but you can see my signals and emergency lights are okay. They're supposed to look very blue, by the way. But yeah, the stock lights were green before, but they're actually very blue, although you can't really see it in the video. And you should always make sure that all your lights are working. All of mine are working, and if yours are working, they will show. I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys how the lights look at nighttime when the time comes, and you're gonna see how cool these look. They're way brighter than the red lights I used to have. Now they're just gonna end up in my glove compartment. I still have a few spares. So yeah, hopefully your project turns out just as good as mine. And now you can get back to putting everything together. Alright, to remove the light that goes under the gear shifter here, you'll be needing to unscrew even more things. For me, I just had to unscrew a torque screw here and one right here. For you guys, it might be a little different because there's an area to unscrew something here as well, and right here on the opposite side. So I already went ahead and unscrewed it for you guys, so all you really need to do now is just pull everything out before you can completely disconnect everything. You have something to unplug here first, so don't be quick to remove this, or else you could break it. And for all of you guys that own Toyota vans, you know these things are hard to replace unless you could find another van and remove the part. So I'm gonna go ahead and unplug this. As a matter of fact, you don't really need to unplug that wire, because all the work's gonna be right here. You can see there's a cord right here, but in order to get a better access, you need to unscrew 4 screws, and make sure you have a safe place to put them, because you don't want to lose them. Obviously, you have only 4 on each corner. You just really, all you need for that is a Phillips head screwdriver, and once you take that out, you'll be able to access the light underneath. Alright, once you have unscrewed everything, you could just pick up the gear shifter here, and you could see you have a way better view on the light here. And like with every T10 LED you're going to use to replace your stock lights, all you need to do to my apologies, to remove it, just twist and it pops right out. Oops. And you can see you have your light here. So go ahead and just grab whatever light you're using to make the replacement LED. You can go ahead and use a OEM spec light if you wanted to. And with all the T10 LEDs, you just pull them out and then just press in the new one, and you'll be able to test it out. Alright, next step with this is just putting everything back together. Once you've tested your light out, you just simply slide it back in to its slot, twist, make sure it's snug, and then you just screw back your screws, but not too tight because you have a plastic around the screws. You don't want to break those. So once your screws are back, just make sure this thing doesn't move, and you can go ahead and continue on with the putting back process. You just need to simply slide the entire thing in, line it up with your gear shifter, make sure you don't break everything, and you're good for the most part. It should slide back into place. I'm having a little trouble because I forgot to empty out the cup holder, which is pretty heavy. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this all back together. Once you put this back and line it up, you just screw back your mid console, and you'll be done. This is pretty easy. Only thing left to do here is show you guys how these lights perform in dark. So I just covered up my gauge cluster with my jacket, and we're gonna go ahead and see how these perform. They look pretty sweet. Reviews for these lights said that these turn out to look purple, but in reality they don't. They just look dark bluish. I like them. Now I'm pretty sure you guys would like them too if you decide to go and purchase the ones I bought. So I'm gonna show you how the gear shifter looks in the dark. I haven't seen it yet, so let's see. Alright, time to see how these perform in the dark. For the gear shifter. They look way brighter than the red ones I had before. Again, these look kind of purplish on the video, but in person it's just a dark blue. I think it looks very cool, you know, and this makes driving at night a lot funner, if that's even a word. So yeah, that's how you change your LEDs on a 1986 Toyota Van LE. So have fun doing this project if you decide to take it up. It's inexpensive and it'll boost up your street cred if that's all what you're about. So Juan here again, peace out.